Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important.
Because, by the way, pause that there. She went from saying that Hawley's words open up transgender people to violence, and in order to substantiate that claim, remarked, and rightly so, on the high rate of self-harm among trans individuals. Non sequitur, but the allegation and the accusation is already out there. But wait for the punchline of this.
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant? That is the question that this professor just asked. Let me just play it again.
Are you?
Having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this? Where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
I can't go back to the... Okay. Do you deny that men can get pregnant? Now, people in the chat that's okay. People in the chat commenting on the eyes. I don't think the eyes are necessarily indicative of anything. If being the hypochondriac, neurotic individual that I am, she might have a thyroid problem. And I'm not saying that to be glib or facetious. Like, that's one of the symptoms of having a thyroid problem. So, before judging or mocking the eyes, I would, I presume there could be potentially a condition underlying that would explain it. Do you deny that men can get pregnant? Or do you believe that men can get pregnant? No, I don't. Because by definition of the words, men can't get pregnant. Therefore, you're denying that trans people exist. Set aside the lunacy of the first question. Do you believe that men can get pregnant? Let's just say that for whatever the crazy reason, I do not believe that men can get pregnant. Let's just say for whatever delusional thoughts I have in my head, I don't think that men who lack uteruses and typically carry penises can get... Let's just say that I have that crazy thought, men cannot get pregnant. How does that go from there to denying that trans people exist? At worst, that would deny that trans men or men who transition to women could not get pregnant. And maybe a crazy thought, they can't. Nothing wrong with it. No judgment. There are women who can't get pregnant. That the pregnancy is not the defining element of a woman. It's the defining potential of female species in general. As we once learned way back in another stream, even the horseshoes, not the horseshoes, the seahorses, where it's the only species where the males give birth, it doesn't change the underlying definition of what it means to be female and male. It's just that the carrying of the baby occurs in the male, but the whatever it is that makes the female seahorse, it's an exception to the rule, but doesn't redefine the underlying principle. Do you believe that men can get pregnant? No. Then you're denying that trans people exist. Nobody is. Trans people exist. We all recognize that. And nobody advocates for violence. No reasonable person advocates for violence. But even a trans male to female can't get pregnant unless one does something very interesting, like might occur in a seahorse, where if through some scientific method of implanting and gestating a baby, I don't know, it's conceivable. In a movie, it's conceivable. But then this idea of, well, then you're promoting violence by not recognizing what I say, by contradicting or disagreeing with me, you're promoting violence. That's not a reflection of Holly. That is a reflection of what this individual thinks. And one might want to conclude how that individual might think towards others. This is one of those cases of a fear hiding a wish, but also like a serious case of projection, where if she thinks that Holly, by denying her statement, is advocating for violence, that might be because that's exactly how that person's framework operates. Well, and yes, Viva, scary to think that this woman is a teacher. This is the other underlying learning lesson in all of this. This is what's going on at schools, where I could have this professor who on my exam might cross off Ms. and put doctor, telling my children men can get pregnant. Okay, I mean, in a Heideggerian flipping of the definitions of terms, up is down and down is up. If you just change the meaning of words, if you change reality to meet to reconcile with your perspective, okay, fine, then that's fine. Just change the meaning of a man. Then man now no longer means whatever the scientific definition is, like gametes or something. I don't know. Just change the definition. Man means includes women. Man includes that which can get pregnant of the human species. And this idea that what was I just about to say? Oh, that it did not, if you don't believe a man can get pregnant, you deny that trans people exist. Let me throw this back at you, Professor. If you have the audacity, the scientific disingenuous dishonesty to say that men can get pregnant, you're denying that women exist. Checkmate. Okay, now let's just go ahead and see if we've been demonetized yet. What YouTube is sensitive to is bizarre, peculiar, depends on the day. But I think people, in response to that tweet, and I said, quote, do you believe that men can get pregnant? And I said, people, we are through the looking glass. I think we're getting to the point where even the silent, passive types who were up until now ready to go along with this are saying, enough is enough. If I've got a professor telling my kid that men can get pregnant, that's where I draw the line. Not in terms of any violence, just in terms of ideological opposition and saying enough is enough. No, men cannot get pregnant by definition, by the science that this side purports to follow. No. And if you think that means that anyone is denying that trans people exist, you might want to check yourself, because you might be confessing how you view the world and not actually how the interlocutor views the world according to you. Okay, what's up, people? There's a storm passing through. Don't know if you can hear the thunder. Oh, I'm missing the January 6th debacle. I can't watch it anymore, but maybe we'll pull it up. Maybe we'll pull it up and just see a little bit. We got some fun stories, some interesting law stuffs, but ask Dr. Fauci. Thank you for the segue into the standard disclaimers. Loss of the meaning of words is the end of communication. Welcome to Florida, Viva. Some people say that loss of the meaning of words is the end goal. In the confusion, there is no reality. In the confusion, all is subjective. And if you deny someone's subjective feelings, someone's subjective interpretations, you are advocating violence against them. That's how when words lose meaning, everything is whatever you want it to be, and nothing is as it is. By the way, through the looking glass, I am embarrassed, but also proud to say that a lot of the knowledge I have acquired in life has come from The Simpsons what year are we in? Pre-2010. And so there's a lot of things that I know. Like, I know these expressions. I've seen them on The Simpsons. I don't know the origins. I go look it up. And through the looking glass, I mean, I knew it was from Alice in Wonderland. And when you go through the looking glass, you're in the other side where everything is upside down. Nothing makes sense anymore. We're through the looking glass, people. Do you believe that men can get pregnant? And she doesn't laugh at her own question. We are in the upside down world. Yes, no legal advice, no election fortification advice, no medical advice. And super chats, YouTube takes 30%. If you don't like that, we are simultaneously streaming on the Rumbles. Let me make sure that we're good. And Rumble has the thing called Rumble Rants. And that's 80% for whatever. Rumble takes 20%. So better for the creator, better for the platform, yada, yada, yada. You know the shtick. Okay. What's been the big news in the last 24 hours? There has been stuff that I'm not fully up to speed on. I have seen, for all of you out there, I don't know that I want to play the ad because I don't want any abusive copy claims. New York has run a public service announcement as to what to do in the event of a nuclear bomb. I mean, CERN has opened up a black hole. The CERN started operations. The proton smasher started operations last week. So people are, correlating a lot of stuff to that. Hunter, Netherlands, and nukes. I mean, has the world always been crazy, but we just haven't had the means of the constant access to information so that it all happens in real time now, whereas it was always happening in the past. There was always wars going on. There was always terrible stuff going on, but we just didn't know about it all at the same time in real time. In a way, it feels like the internet, not that it's a Pandora's box, but it's almost like bestowing on everyday citizens the eternal burden of knowing everything that's going on at all times, everywhere. It feels like that. And there's just so much. Nuke the whales. Do not nuke the whales. Okay. There's a lot of stuff in the chat. But no. So there's the Bodega stabbing updates. At least there's updates which may or may not be material from the prosecution of the individual's perspective, but might be interesting from a legal perspective. New York deciding to run what to do in the event of a nuclear detonation of a bomb PSAs. And I'm not a nuclear scientist. It seems pretty laughable to say if a bomb goes off in New York, change your clothes. Jill Biden, that's the one. Jill Biden and Google suppression. We're going to talk about this. We'll start with Jill Biden. My oldest brother had a wise expression, a wise saying, a wise philosophy that he bestowed unto me. And that philosophy was, if you step in poop, don't go running around the house, tracking the poop everywhere you go. If you step in poop, stop, sit down, recalculate, and above all else, before you start running around, take your shoe off. And that is, it's a metaphor for if you've made a mistake, don't go making it exponentially worse by smearing it everywhere. Jill Biden made a mistake. She made actually two mistakes, but one was bigger than the other. And instead of stop, sit down, take your shoe off, clean it off, thoroughly but meticulously, Jill goes running around the house, tracking that poop everywhere. It's a bit of a graphic image, but you won't forget it. But now let's just go to the underlying step in the poo-poo.
Distinct as
Not
the
that one.
Bogodas of
That's number two. Listen to this. Jill, she's at a Latinx. I mean, I don't know what the term means, and I know that the term actually offends people within the Latino community. Listen to what she said at this event.
But we can't get those things on our own. Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogodas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, is your strength.
Does that not piss everybody off? Am I black-pilled? Am I cynical? Am I angry that I'm not Latino? If I were Latino, I would find that patronizing, belittling, and offensive. To me, it would be just as degrading if Jill Biden came out and said the diversity of New York's Jewish I don't know, I don't even know what the point of what she's saying is, but the Jewish population of New York, it's so nice. The matzo ball soup is delicious. It's so degrading and demeaning to reduce a people's to a stereotype. And I mean, the fact that in my humble opinion, feel free to disagree, the fact that she doesn't see what's even wrong with saying, looking at Latinos and saying, I look at a Latino human citizen, a being with a history, with a sense of self-worth and a sense of pride, and I reduce it to tacos, to breakfast tacos. And by the way, people, I've been doing Taco Tuesday for a while. It has nothing to do with this. I stole Taco Tuesday from the Lego movie. This is quintessential discrimination. This is quintessential racism. Your community is so nice. I love them. I love your bagels. I love your matzo ball soup. I love your tacos. Ooh, this is what they put in the movies. This is what goes into The Simpsons when they want to have the quintessential example of someone who is demeaning and degrading. Spot the minority, identify the minority, reduce the minority to the stereotype. But listen to this. She's as bad as reading off the she's as bad as reading off the teleprompter as is Joe Biden.
Those things on our own. Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bodegas of the Bronx.
Bodegas of the Bronx. And this is what happens when it's totally insincere. When you actually don't know what you're saying, you're just reading off a teleprompter. Bodega, I presume she meant bodegas, which are Spanish-type convenience stores in the Bronx. Bodegas, which is going to segue into the next story. The Bodegas of the Bronx. And your tacos, they're so delicious too. Anyway, I saw someone in the chat who said, I'm overreacting, it's just words. First of all, it's not just words. It is, and I'm not overreacting, by the way. It would be nice for people to see people as people. I appreciate this is at what they're referring to as a Latinx event. It would be nice just to view humans as humans without perpetually. If I'm Latino, I look at Jill Biden. I know that she's looking at me and seeing tacos, literally. Like if Jill Biden looks at me, what am I going to think now that I know that that's how what she sees when she looks at the Latino community? What's she going to think? What am I going to think she's thinking when she looks at me? That I'm a good lawyer? The stereotypes, bad example. That I'm good at accounting. It's demeaning, it's degrading, it's objectification. It is viewing the world through identity political blinders. Bodegas.
The Bronx, as distinct as the Bodegas of the Bronx.
And by the way, so, I'm not overreacting. It seems that everyone's overreacting if I'm overreacting because it's just objectively objectionable. And what happens, by the way? Oh goodness. So she stepped in it. I would say she stepped in it because of underlying issues of how she sees the world. She looks at ethnic communities and she reduces them to ethnic stereotypes. Tacos. The tacos I had for breakfast. But then, when you're in a panic, it's not always easy to do. When you realize that you've stepped in it, sometimes your first instinct is to flee before taking your shoes off. Just say, sorry. Just say, wait until you see the apology. Let me see something here. Share screen. I don't know if I actually brought up the apology earlier. Let me see here. That's not going to be that. Oh, we'll get to Justin Trudeau afterwards, but hold on. We're going to go here. Her apology. This was Gail Bowman who had this tweet. It's not even mine, but so sincere. Her apology is so sincere. It comes from her press secretary. The First Lady apologizes that her words. The First Lady, by the way, if you want it to be sincere, maybe don't pull the hierarchy. I would have said Jill Biden. Jill, you want to bring down the person to being a personable person and not flouting status in the apology. The First Lady, the Queen of England, hereby apologizes that her words conveyed anything but pure admiration and love for the Latino community. The First Lady apologizes that her words conveyed anything but pure admiration and love for the Latino community. So here, let's get a little semantics with this one. This is another example, by the way, of what I consider to be soft bigotry, if not just outright bigotry. When you have to say, I love the Latino community, I have nothing but love and admiration for the Latino community, to feel that you need to specify that would indicate that you think there's something that requires that to be publicly said, because it wouldn't be an expectation that you would just love all communities equally. To say it, she apologizes that her words showed anything but love and admiration for the Latino community. I presume that she should have love and admiration for all communities. And to say this might indicate that she has to overcompensate, to compensate for something in her mind that says, I need to tell people, because that's what it means to be tolerant. And also, I have nothing but love, and it is treating people like objects. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is. And in this apology, just because the First Lady apologizes that the First Lady apologizes if you were offended. It's like Peter Griffin. I'm sorry that you. No, it was from the Family Guy, Mel Gibson's apology. I'm sorry that you were offended by my word. It was much more offensive on the Family Guy, but even the apology is utterly insincere and demeaning and belittling. Oh. Anyhow, it's not just words. It's not just words. It's a perspective of the world. Not seeing people for people, seeing people, reducing them to ethnic identities, and essentially objectifying them to the. What does she mean, by the way, by the blossoms of Miami? I still don't know what that means. And the bodegas of the Bronx. Oh, it's just it's terrible. And you'll find also that you'll put your foot in your mouth more often than not when you insist on eating with your feet. Anyway, okay, done. Translation, Viva. The First Lady has zero respect for your Latin, but just need your votes. That's the way it makes me feel. The First Lady apologized. I forget what it was now. The First Lady apologizes if you misunderstood what she meant. She has nothing but love and respect for, let me just see who we're talking to today, the Latino community. She has nothing but love and respect for the Jewish community. She meant nothing by the matzo ball and bagel remarks. She has nothing but respect for the Japanese community. She did not mean to reduce an entire culture to sushi. This is, imagine, pull out any example. I knew someone who I would consider to be, if not utterly, if not questionable motives, at the very least, utterly insensitive. Where when you're talking to someone who comes from a different country, they don't necessarily want you always like, oh, what did you need? Like reducing them to the culture. If you talk about it, talk about it. But the idea to reduce anybody, to keep reminding them that you view them differently. Viva, did you know you can fish with a drone in Florida, but only if it has a mounted turret? Given the fish here, I will not be fishing with a drone. The only reason I would do it would be to actually have the fish pull it into the water so I can get some hilarious footage. But yeah, no, I'm not doing it. The fish in Florida are good. Oi. Okay, so that's it. That's Jill Biden. The people who walk around accusing everyone else of bigotry, misogyny, racism, extremism. My goodness, when they open their mouths and tell you what they think, it's almost as if they are guilty of that of which they accuse others. But speaking of the bodegas of the Bronx, the bodega, I would not make fun of mispronouncing something on a teleprompter. It's just that it occurs because it's totally insincere discourse in the first place. Patronizing, belittling, politically opportunistic, virtue signaling. That's what it is. Glistening Viva, yeah. But in case no one told you, Floridians treat July and August like y'all treat January, February. Run from home to a car and limit outdoor exposure after sundown. Humidity is undefeated. Don't fight it. Avoid it. I have never appreciated air conditioning the way I appreciate air conditioning now. And yeah, I know it's an amazing thing. Everyone's like, you chose one heck of a time to come down to Florida. July and August are insufferable. I go outside. Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? That was one wicked thunder. I go outside. It's so hot, my shoes, my feet are burning up in my, hold on, let me take them off. In my Murph's kicks. Murph, they're taking a kicking, but they keep on licking. I've been jogging in them. I know I shouldn't, but my feet actually get, oh, let me take that one off. Too hot in the shoes. Okay, sorry, I'm knocking everything over. But yeah, that was a loud thunder. It's too damn hot for a penguin to be just walking around. I say that all day long. Okay. Her speech in context was alluding to the differences in Latino culture, and she gave examples of those differences. Breakfast tacos are a big part of San Antonio culture. The intention, but this thing, understood. In fact, I understood that to begin with, which is why she was comparing, or not comparing, but highlighting the differences within a culture. Yes, but it's just the idea. This is the thought process that goes on in the people's mind, where now when you talk to Jill, you know that this is the way she views things. It is the objectification of people. It is reducing them to what is nothing more than effectively stereotypes. Okay, well, this group is into this group is into that, and that's how I'm going to identify them. Okay, but speaking of the Bodegas of the Bronx, the story of, I'm going to mistake his name, Jose Alba. Now, we all know the story by this point. Talked about it briefly Sunday night. A store clerk, woman comes into a shop asking at 11 o'clock at night, asking for a bag of chips. Apparently doesn't have enough money. There's an issue. She goes out, and her boyfriend comes back. Altercation. Apparently, the boyfriend can be seen attempting to physically remove, or at the very least physically accost, the store clerk, the owner of the store. As the individual, her boyfriend, apparently tries to take him out of the store to do what? Lord knows. The store owner grabs a knife, stabs the individual twice, and the individual collapses and dies. Jose Alba is now facing murder charges, which has shocked and rocked the bodegas of the Bronx. It has shocked and rocked the Bronx and all of America. I mean, it's being compared to some extent to Rittenhouse, but I know there's a lot of material distinctions between Rittenhouse, who people are going to say went out looking for trouble, versus this individual who is doing his job. But it's the underlying similarities of what is arguably not malicious prosecution, but prosecution, unwarranted prosecution of what ought to be not prosecuted on its face. Hey, didn't he get charged with murder? Well, he did. Hitman Ken, I'm the one that called you a traitor for leaving. I'll star this for a second, and we'll get back to this afterwards. I'm not sensitive, but we'll talk about that. So Jose Alba, as he's getting accosted by the boyfriend of the woman who came back after the chip incident at 11 o'clock at night. Apparently the chips were purportedly for her kids and whatever. Underlying stuff doesn't matter. Boyfriend comes back, starts to accost and apparently physically remove Jose Alba from the store. Alba grabs a knife from behind the counter, stabs twice, individual collapses and dies. He is being charged with murder, and it's causing some ripples and some outrage, and rightly so. I haven't seen the video. I don't want to watch the video. I made a very unfortunate accident yesterday of watching a video that Andy No posted on Twitter of something that occurred in Brisbane, Australia, and I quite literally had a nightmare last night. I don't have the stomach for these things anymore. And sometimes For an analysis, you need to see the video to be able to meaningfully talk about a subject. But I don't have the stomach for this anymore. But so I didn't watch the video, but I read the play-by-play. Charged with murder, and people are outraged. People are outraged because, on the one hand, crime in a great many places is skyrocketing. And I'll tone it down. Crime is on the rise. New York, in particular, might be skyrocketing. I mean, New York, I've been told, is now what it used to be in the 80s. So people are seeing a rise in crime, and then people are also seeing a rise in prosecution of those who would defend themselves against the rising crime. Rittenhouse, McCloskey's, Alba in the Bodega. And people are seeing this now and they're saying, I mean, what are people supposed to do? Krauss would say, sometimes you just have to take a beating. But no, not in a free society, not in a just society. Victims don't have to just take a beating as opposed to defending themselves. So people are seeing a tendency now, and in Rittenhouse, less sympathetic, because some people say he shouldn't have been there in the first place with an AR-15. The McCloskeys, people were very unsympathetic because it was a peaceful protest. People were unsympathetic because it was misinformation coming out about what occurred from the first minute. Just protesters on a street peacefully protesting, and these angry white rich lawyer couple came out brandishing firearms. Jose Alba now seems to be a situation where people are saying enough is enough, and they can rally behind this because it's not two ultra wealthy lawyers brandishing a pistol and an AR-15. It's not a young punk who, according to many, should not have been out with a firearm in the first place. This is a store owner getting accosted, and he himself is named Jose Alba. So, there won't be the underlying issues playing with McCloskey's and Rittenhouse. So they're pressing charges. He's been charged with murder. Everyone's pleading to drop the charges. The family says they don't have the money to defend against this. I'm wondering if they have a Give, Send, Go campaign that's been created. And if not, I might contact Jacob Wells and see if he can do something. The more recent developments now apparently show that the girlfriend stabbed Alba at some point in the altercation. Now, this may or may not be relevant from a legal standpoint in terms of the charges against Alba. But let's get this here. Is this is it? Okay. New video shows girlfriend stab New York City bodega worker after confrontation turned deadly. 61-year-old Jose Alba is facing murder charges after police say he fatally stabbed a man inside a Washington Heights convenience store. Okay. And we get the facts. New video from inside a New York City bodega shows the moment a worker was stabbed by the girlfriend of the man police said the clerk had just killed, for which he now faces a murder charge. Pressure continues to mount for the Manhattan District Attorney to drop the murder charge against Jose Alba, the Washington Heights bodega clerk, he wasn't the store owner, a clerk, accused of killing Austin Simon, who attacked him behind the counter. Those pleas will likely grow louder, as video released on Monday showed what immediately led up to the stabbing that left the 35-year-old Simon dead. On July 1st, investigators said there was an argument. Okay, we got that part. Let's see. Investigators say there was an argument when Simon's girlfriend had her card declined as she tried to purchase a bag of chips for her daughter, and Alba took the bag of chips back from the little girl. That's when police said the girlfriend came back with Simon, who went behind the counter to corner and confront Alba. After getting shoved into a wall, the deli clerk grabbed a knife, stabbed Simon multiple times, videos shown. From a new angle, Simon's girlfriend can be seen grabbing Alba's arm, then taking a knife out from her purse and stabbing him in the upper arm as Simon collapsed. New photos show the injury to Alba suffered in the violent altercation. The girlfriend has not yet been charged. Okay. This is going to be interesting in that it's going to become one of those situations. I would like to hear what Branca Law of Self-Defense has to say about this. I'd like to know what Branca has to say about this, because why hasn't the woman been charged? This is one of those legal situations where even if, I could imagine, Alba is within his rights, let's just say on a trial, is acquitted, where it's self-defense vis-a-vis Simon, whether or not the girlfriend could also claim some form of defense or attempt to prevent the fatal stabbing of Simon. I think legally there's something to be analyzed in there, but I'd like to know what someone who I consider to know more than me thinks about it. But most importantly yet, at the very least from optics, the girlfriend who actually stabbed Alba in the arm after Alba stabbed the man in self-defense, by all accounts, she has not yet been charged. What message is that going to send? First of all, she had a knife in her purse when she and Simon, her boyfriend, came, and her boyfriend ended up assaulting Alba. She had a knife in her purse. Someone had said that they set up a GoFundMe, shut them down. There's a Give, Send, Go. I donated. Please donate if you can. Donna, if you have the link to the Give, Send, Go, put it in the chat and I'll find it afterwards and put it up. Anybody using GoFundMe, or as I call them now, Go F Me, needs to have their head examined. Go F Me should be go bankrupt is what it should do. If anybody doesn't know what they did during the Ottawa convoy, where the truckers had raised $4 million, maybe more, and then GoFundMe at one point froze the account until they specified what they were going to do with the funds. They specified how they were going to dispose of the funds. GoFundMe reopened it. I think it reached 10 million by that time. Then GoFundMe shuts it down and says they're keeping the money and they're going to donate it to a charity of their choice. And then when there was massive outrage, they said, okay, well, we're going to refund it for those who ask, and whatever's left over, we're going to give to a charity of our choice. Still massive outrage. They said, screw it. We're just going to give it all back. Nonetheless, they shut it down for no good reason, no legal reason, and reimbursed everybody who donated to Give, Send, Go. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Branca is saying this is not a self-defense, or at least it needs to go to court for Alba. Interesting. I'll check it out. Maybe we'll we've had Bronco on. Maybe we'll have him back on. We'll talk about it. Today will not be known as Taco Tuesday. It will be known as Freedom Friday, but still on a Tuesday. That's from the Lego Movie, people. But it's like Robert Barnes on our Sunday streams. We talk about what happened in America in the 70s. Was it the Getz subway shooter guy? What happens? Hold on. Now I see this is a spam bot. So I'm going to go block this because I know that that's not a legitimate account. Here you go. See? Okay. Well, I believe I blocked you now anyhow. What did Kurt do to get his own? They're effectively Russian sex bots, except it's not Russian. It's not sex. It's just a Kurt bot. This is homemade iced coffee. It's not good. It's not actually. Oh, here. See, here's another one. All right, let's get this. Sorry about this, people. I'm going to go block these. I didn't see what these were. So Barnes has often talked about what happened in the 70s. Crime rate exploded. You had movies like Dirty Harry, Vigilante Justice. And now we're actually living through a period of time. Canada and the US alike. Canada, crime is going up, and the ability of anyone to defend themselves hasn't existed in a long time. In Canada, Justin Trudeau has recently reminded us, you cannot own a firearm for self-defense. Let that sink in. You cannot own a firearm for home defense. You can own it for hunting. You can own it if you get a special license for the small arms for target shooting. But you cannot own even a hunting rifle for the purposes of self-defense. And if anybody gets wind to the idea that the reason for which you wanted a duck hunting rifle was for self-defense, you'll get refused to even get your license for the unrestricted long arms, which themselves have a maximum capacity of 5 rounds per rifle. Canada, you can't own a gun for self-defense. You can't own a taser. You can't own pepper spray. You actually can't own you cannot carry around anything if the reason for which you are carrying it around is for the purposes of self-defense. Have a bat with you on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you have that bat for self-defense? Illegal. Have it in the trunk of your car with a glove and a ball? Tougher to prove. But we're living in a world now. Crime is rising everywhere. And now it seems that the prosecutors are making life hell for anyone who happens to be a victim of a crime who defends themselves, who successfully defends themselves. And there are people have theories as to why any prosecutor would be doing this. But that's the world. That's the world in which we are currently living. It's not good for stability, and it's not good for social cohesion. But then again, releasing violent criminals on bail and locking up peaceful protesters for alleged mischief charges and alleged non-compliance with bail terms, that's not how you build trust in the system, and that's not how you build cohesion among society. So that's it. The Bodega update. Alba has been charged with murder. They have yet to drop the charges despite mounting public pressure. And now new video has emerged that the girlfriend actually stabbed Alba in the arm, but from everything that I understand from the descriptions from the videos, only after he stabbed her boyfriend, and she has yet to face charges. So Bernard Getz is the name of was the name of the individual. But yeah, that's the update on Bodega. Now, I should add, by the way, at 4:30 this evening, I'm going to be going live with Alison Morrow, and it's on. It's going to be on Alison Morrow's channel, so I'm going to share that link after this. But I'm going to be going live with Alison Morrow, talking, where I'm at now, physically, spiritually, and metaphysically. Won't let me send a link, Viva, to GiveSendGo. Google GiveSendGo Alba, and you should be able to find it. Sorry, no, I think you're right, by the way. I don't think you can super chat links, if my recollection is correct. Oh, man. Okay, so that's what's going on with Alba, Bodega, and the world. We'll see if the girlfriend does not face charges, whether or not her case is clear self-defense or defense of sorts, to not face charges for assault, where Alba is facing murder charges for what it seems most people think is clear-cut self-defense. Oh, but increase in crime, increase in prosecution of those who defend themselves once they become victims of this increase in crime. What next to talk about in this world? How about Google suppression of probably the most important stories of the decade? This goes back to the Hunter Biden laptop story, which, without getting into the sad and unfortunate family stuff in there, suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story in 2020 leading up to the election, whether or not one considers that interference or fortification is only a question of perspective. One man's interference is another man's fortification. If the so fortifying person wanted the result and the other person wanted the information out there, when Twitter suppressed the Hunter Biden story, when they blocked out when they locked out the New York Post Twitter feed for sharing this, for sharing their own story, for sharing a story of absolute importance, that being the laptop technician who gave to the FBI Hunter Biden's laptop, which had a number of questionable things on it, but arguably some politically relevant information on it. Twitter locked out the New York Post from publishing their own story on the basis that it violated the terms of service. I think they used, as relates to hacking, disclosure of hacked material, when nothing in that was ever hacked. Jack Dorsey subsequently apologized for that. But to say that did not have an impact on the election, that interference or that fortification, it lacks credibility to suggest that did not have an impact on the election. There were some studies that came out afterwards. Let me just take this down for a second. There were some statistics or some polls that came out afterwards that showed like a number of people would have changed their vote had they known about the information that was suppressed in that story. A number of people, enough said it that it might have changed things. Had that information just been allowed to be shared and disclosed and communicated. And what's the suppression of the day? 4chan individuals have apparently cracked and hacked the cell phone, Hunter Biden's cell phone, which it's either the cell phone or the computer. I don't think it makes much of a difference anymore. And there's been some very, very gross. Some people don't want to touch it because it's invasive family stuff, and other people think it's nonetheless extremely politically relevant. I'm on the fence about that. I'm not sharing the videos, and I'm not sharing the videos. I'm not getting into what's on there any more than I was getting into what's actually in the Ashley Biden diary, for which Project Veritas is being aggressively pursued by the FBI. The substance is one thing, we can set that aside. It's what's being done about it. Apparently, Hunter had a very peculiar nickname for somebody, and it was, let's just call it Potato Peter. And that's politically important news. So much so, by the way, that I pulled up the Google Trends of the term. Google Trends for the term Potato Peter over the last 7 days. And that's remarkable. Anybody who I don't know much about how things work in terms of how Google auto-populates its search terms, yada, yada. I do know that how trends work. That's a lot of interest in this term over the last 7 days. But miraculously, for whatever the reason, when you go to Google, it does not even auto-populate the term. And by the way, when you do get it afterwards, what does it tell you? Look at what it tells you as the search results for the term. It says, it looks like these results are changing quickly. If this topic is new, it can sometimes take time for the reliable sources to publish information. And then I did it in quotes, and it still doesn't produce any more meaningful results. But the amazing thing is that if you look down, no, it's not there. It auto-populates at one point. I did this search after I had already looked up the term. So it wasn't even in my search history. It didn't even auto-populate based on my previous search results. But what did? Pedro Peter, because I initially had a typo in it. And now we are living again. Timing is interesting. You got midterms coming up in November. This would have I would say, an impact on politics. This would be politically relevant to a party that now might have been shielding this for years, might have had knowledge about this for years. And now, someone says, end of quote. We have Twitter fortifying information back in 2020. We have Google now suppressing organic search results, as we can see based on Google Trends, at the same time that we have the White House literally rewriting history to make what was obviously a gaffe into purportedly part of the original speech, and that is Joe Biden's end of quote. Repeat the line. We are being lied to and manipulated at all levels. Big tech, big media, because is media talking about this? How is the media not talking about this? There is gross, I say unfortunate personal family stuff quite clearly on there, on that video, on those videos in that cell phone. But this is not Joe Schmo from down the street. This is Joe Biden from up in the White House. This is, someone who said he had no knowledge of his son's business dealings to the people. This is someone who said, who may not have been forthright about material issues, that this is all extremely unfortunate content, is exactly what makes it perfect material for blackmail, corruption, or control. When the Democrats and the left walked around saying, imagine the dirt that the Russians might have on Trump, the PP dossier sounds like it's far more plausible that it applies directly to what might actually be the case of the current president's son than what people were saying could have been of Trump. This is the exact type of dirt the VP's son smoking crack and having sex with hookers is exactly the type of stuff that some people might say, play ball or we release the Kraken. And now you got Google playing some funky games. DuckDuckGo, people say, DuckDuckGo we now know is not much better. DuckDuckGo announcing that they were prioritizing certain search results to downrank Russian sources and uprank other sources because of Russian disinformation. DuckDuckGo is Google 2.0. There's Brave, from what I understand. Brave is the search engine, but it's a time to be alive to see people are actually unaware of certain things. I guarantee you that I know people who are unaware that Joe Biden did not actually say, let me repeat the line, that he actually said, repeat the line reading off the teleprompter, and they're absolutely unaware that the White House comes out and formally lies to the American people that that's what he intended to say. Okay, Viva, have you read about Canada to return repaired Nord Stream 1 turbine to Russia against sanctions? Funny how they ignore them when they like. By the way, so I'm going to be actually discussing this on RT tonight. RT, Russia Today, at 9 o'clock. And apparently Zelensky then called Trudeau a weak leader. If only Trudeau, I've heard about it. I need to go dive into it a little more. Rules for thee, but not for me. If only Trudeau were only a weak leader. I would take a weak leader over a corrupt tyrant any day of the week. The problem is Trudeau might be weak. And what do weak people do? They fight dirty. They fight dirty, and they also fight in desperation. Trudeau may be weak, but he's got the power of the RCMP behind him. He's got the power of Moise Karimji to prosecute Tamara Lich for taking a photograph with someone and locking her up now, going on 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that later tonight. RT, 9 o'clock. Live, it's like a 5-minute segment. 10-minute segment, 10-minute segment. Okay, now, get to some super chats. San Antonio culture includes breakfast tacos. It's a huge thing here. Google the Great Taco War of 2016. I understand. I understand what was the intent behind the gaffe, but no. Okay, no. In case no one told you, okay, I got that one. Now, it's kind of like going to Harlem and saying, no, I'm not reading that. But by the way, not much different than what Hillary Clinton did. When Hillary Clinton was giving the interview, I forget on what network, but it was geared towards Black America. And she says, and then she puts on the phony drawl. I always carry around hot sauce in my purse. Like, it's just so gosh darn patronizing. Like, okay, hey, where are we going today? Oh, we're going here. Which demographic? Okay, what's the stereotype? Hot sauce in my purse. First of all, doesn't even matter. But yeah, Hillary Clinton carrying around hot sauce in her purse. Hitman Ken. Viva, I'm the one who called you a traitor for leaving Canada. I apologize to you and your family. Hitman, I can't say I didn't notice it because I did notice it. I understand that some people are going to, first of all, I'm not, it's not permanent. And I don't, it's not permanent, but I understand that people are going to think that I'm a traitor for leaving. But there's two things. Anybody telling me what I can, what I can physically do with my body, I mean, that's a problem in and of itself. And other people you have to appreciate as well. At some point, the meaningful vocal fight in the peaceful political sense will not be able to be had from Canada. Because if you have to worry about bank accounts getting frozen, if you have to see Bill C-11 come into play to govern online streaming, which will effectively and I dare say deliberately shut down this exact type of discourse in Canada on Canadian internet, at some point, yeah, there is going to be a strategic repositioning for the purposes of making sure that the madness that is going on in Canada is known to the world. So apology accepted, although I was not offended. I understand the sentiments, and I knew it was going to happen. It's not like I didn't know people were going to react this way, but apology accepted and thank you. Viva, I'm from the Bronx. Bodega. What am I saying? I said bodega. Big Pete, I've been saying Bodega. It was her that said Bogoda, or not Bogoda, but I forget what she said. Doesn't matter. Don't forget that after the girlfriend stabbed Alba and she was not sure. Yes, got there. We covered that. And we'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be pressured amount, but how she could not be charged for assault for actually stabbing someone. And if her defense was, I was trying to protect my boyfriend, raise it in court. And I think that could be a legitimate defense. She was in her right mind thinking that she was defending her boyfriend. I don't know how that interplay works. If she was legitimately defending her boyfriend from what was a legitimate defense from Alba. Mutual self-defense. What happened here? On good logic, Bronca said, so he said the girlfriend would have to go to, Bronca said girlfriend was defending boyfriend. That I can understand. No question about it. Especially if she does not know that the boyfriend had, I don't know, threatened the guy. It was threatening that guy's life. Like that, I understand. I can appreciate that nuance. And I would not want to be on the jury. Especially if it's GiveSendGo/help Jose Alba. Okay. Nadav Mavor, thank you very much. So there's that. Bronca is not inconsistent. Rules, every case is a nuanced case. I'll tell you one thing. I respect Bronca, and I think he's extremely intelligent and well-versed and well-knowledged. He is well-knowledged. He's extremely knowledgeable. I disagreed with him on that porch, the Texas porch shooting, where Bronca said, the moment that he thrust the guy back, and that guy was 3 feet back, no need for lethal force. But if that guy inched 1 second forward, then it becomes justified. I was like, that seems like a bit too much parsing for me to accept it in real life, in real time. But you can disagree on conclusions. He knows the law, and you might just disagree on applying the facts and the law to any given situation because it requires human perception. Let's see what we got here. Viva, as free as possible. Did you finally move out of Canada? It's temper. I mean, we're here for a while, legally as well. Stay tuned. I know. And also updates, going to be in Vegas for the Freedom Fest, speaking on Thursday with Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, et al. Because hold on. I'm not going to make a mistake now. I'm just going to go get the campaign. Oh, here we go. James O'Keefe, Ron Coleman. I'm going to see him in person. Alex Kaczynski and Viva Fry. Freedom Fest. Look at that. In Vegas. And then next week, people might be in Washington for the Steve Bannon trial. I'm going to see about this. I want to see how I can work this with family obligations. But Washington for the Steve Bannon trial. And I just don't know, don't understand, and don't think that, let me rephrase it, that's not going to work. I don't understand how Steve Bannon can possibly get a fair trial. To me, this looks like done deal. And it's serious. Contempt of Congress is serious. Hold on 1 second. Let me just see what the maximum sentence for contempt of Congress is. Contempt of Congress max. I think it's like okay. The criminal offense of contempt of Congress sets the penalty of not more than 12 months in jail and a fine of not more than $100,000. Bannon faces jail time for contempt of Congress. The criminal offense, let me just bring it up here. Stop screen. He faces jail time for allegedly refusing to comply with that subpoena. The criminal offense of contempt of Congress sets the penalty at not less than 1 month, nor more than 12 months in jail and a fine of not more than $100,000 or less than $100. Let me just see, the footnote is 9. Okay, well, I could have seen the actual law. So Bannon is facing jail time over this. And in as much as none of the January 6th defendants have been getting, I'm not going to say fair, they haven't been getting favorable treatment, with the exception of that one guy who acquitted by the judge. In as much as the Jan 6 defendants have not been getting favorable treatment in Washington. And in as much as Michael Sussman miraculously got acquitted of lying to the FBI, it seems like it's political justice in Washington, which means that it's injustice. Okay, so here I've been reading. I've been boning up on this now. Bannon's trying to mitigate contempt of Congress by agreeing to testify now, allegedly, in as much as he was ever told that Trump was raising executive privilege. Allegedly, he's been told that it has been not revoked but rescinded, and that he can testify. They don't want his testimony. They never wanted his testimony. They wanted him to defy the subpoena. They wanted him to fail to disclose something that he ought. If he could have complied and testified, they would have gotten him on lying to Congress. He could have provided 1,000 pages of documents. They would have gotten him on not providing 1,001 pages of documents. They would have gotten him the same way they got Alex Jones on submitting to multiple depositions, communicating hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of documents and exhibits, and then saying you didn't send some stuff and you didn't present yourself for another discovery, contempt, foreclosed from defending, guilty. Now let's just go to verdict. And that's what's happening to Alex Jones. He could never have complied his way out of this process because it was a purely political persecution from the get-go. And they just went with contempt of Congress for not adhering to the subpoena, as opposed to any number of the other routes they would have gone, a la Michael Flynn. Lying to Congress under oath. Get him. So they don't want discovery. Well, they would have wanted discovery because they would have been able to at least get him on the procedure of discovery. He was screwed because it's not a they're not after anything but political persecution. We've seen it from the January 6 hearings. It's an absolute kangaroo court clown show. So his trial is next week. Monday is going to be jury selection, if I understand correctly. And then it shouldn't last more than a week. And there's questions as to how it could even last a week in and of itself, because he's been precluded from raising a variety of defenses, including, from what I understand, professional reliance on legal advice and old OLC, Office of Legal Counsel, memos as relates to executive privilege. So it could be fun. It could be fun, fun in a legal sense. Not at the end of the day, there's a human who faces jail time in here. Let's see this here. Viva, Brad Raymond. Should Bannon just try to delay until November? He can't. He tried to delay the trial. He said, I'm prepared to testify now, delay the trial. The judge said, Judge Nichols, a Trump appointee, from what I understand, said no. Trial's happening next week. And then his counsel, during one of the hearings, said, well, why are we going to trial if he's not allowed raising his defenses? And the judge said, good question. If you don't have defenses and you're precluded from raising certain defenses, and I'm still not yet totally clear on how he has been precluded from raising these defenses, plead guilty and try to see, maybe they won't sentence him to a year in jail, the max, and $100,000 fine, the max. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll time served and $100 fine. I doubt it. So that's all Bannon needs to do is point out all the false claims by the committee. Bannon is likely going to jail, guys. He is screwed, and that's either his lawyers or Donald J. Trump's team's fault. Brandon Lesko, welcome to America. What's the best way to help support your vacation from dealing with Trudeau? What's the best way to help support your vacation from dealing with Trudeau? And your dear friend Jugmeet Singh, watch and share. That is all. And it's not a vacation. I'm here 3 years. Could be, up to. We'll see. But stay to all in due time, people. But yes, for now, I'm not here on a vacation visa. I'm here for an extended period of time, and we're getting settled in. But the best way, support, share, and if you want to follow us and support us on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And so that's it. So I want to. I mean, I think I have to go down to the extent that I can and experience this to see what the court system looks like, what Bannon looks like in court, what the judge looks like, what the jury looks like, what jury selection is like. And also, there's going to be MSM there. Like there's going to be the CNNs and the MSNBCs. And I'm thinking I go live, tweet, or take notes depending on where I sit in the trial. And then during lunchtime, do a little walk and talk and see what the other media outlets have to say about life. Okay. Let's see here. Did I have another super chat? It's gives. Okay, so I got that one. Thank you. Okay, take that off. Take this off. Now, what else did we have in the backdrop? Oh yeah. Oh, let me take this one out for a second. I don't. When I call someone an animal, yeah, that's when I've lost my. That's when I've really reached my wit's end. I don't call people pigs in the sense that I have any animosity towards the animal of the pig. They're actually delicious, but they're amazing animals. Pigs are fantastic animals. They're like big, unfriendly, hard dogs. They're like dogs. I like their snouts, but the first time I ever physically felt a pig, I was shocked at how coarse the hair was. How you always think pigs are fat and they're going to be soft and like mushy like pillows. They're like big balls. They feel like they are stuffed solid under their skin. I like pigs as animals, but when people act like gluttonous, ravenous animals, I have to call them what they are, pigs. Justin Trudeau was having a wonderful dinner. Only the best for Trudy. He was having a wonderful dinner when he was confronted by people who are not so happy with him. Let me see here. Here we go. He was confronted by people who are not happy with him. Canadian citizens, people that he was elected to represent, even if they didn't vote for him. The way a tyrant thinks is, I serve those who elected me, and I govern those who didn't. But you got to watch this. You got to watch this. This is, is this it? Oh, here we go.
Minister.
Listen. So this guy, a religious Jewish man who's expressing his discontent with listen to this.
Shame on the Prime Minister. As a proud Canadian Jew, I'm live living, reporting in Montreal. Thank you. Hi, Prime Minister. Hi, Prime Minister. Just a fast question. You know me. Yes. We spoke in the past in the summer. Remember me? I said, Prime Minister, a fast question on Tamara Lynch. You preached the whole wild world about freedoms. How come freedom fighters for the convoy are still in jail? Why? Prime Minister, any answers?
Keep watching this.
For
Keep watching this.
disrupting the lives of so many Canadians for the last 20 years.
I don't have to talk to you.
Any answers? Please answer the people of Canada. Wow, that's
it's a private time. Watch this. Look in the back. Look in the
Prime
back.
Minister, the people want answers and he can't even answer. Coward what you are,
Get the
Prime
bottle.
Minister.
Get the bottle. Only the best. Look, this is what really turns my stomach in this. Look at the way he drinks his wine, reclining in his chair like a king, having a nice outdoor dinner, only the finest. I don't know what the bottle of wine was. And then whoever that is to his right picks up on the cue of how to, this is not let them eat cake. This is let us drink wine. Watch how they sit back and take a nice big gulp of their wine while the people literally suffer.
Hi, Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hi, Prime Minister.
Honte à vous means shame on you in French.
Just a fast question. You know me. Yes.
Hey, have a good day, guys. I'm drinking wine. It's private time. I'm the Prime Minister of Canada. I don't talk to rebel media. Oh, I need to pull up. It's that's another thing, by the way. That's like, Interrupting a guy while he's trying to eat. He's not a guy. He's the Prime Minister of Canada. And he's stuffing his face and drinking his wine like a gluttonous pig while ruling with an iron fist, locking people up in jail, shutting people out of work, denying Canadians their constitutional rights. He's not just a guy eating dinner. And he has a moral obligation to answer to the people of the country. He doesn't have the privilege of sitting around sipping his wine and saying, private time, guys, leave me alone. I don't have to answer your questions now. And by the way, I don't answer questions from Rebel News in any event because they are purveyors of misinformation. His own words. Take Pudge and wear a shirt when you go that says America's first Canadian political refugee. End quote. Repeat the line. Take Pudge and Pudge is I couldn't leave her in a hotel throughout the day. Winston might bark a lot. Oh, no. Okay. Hold on. Let's go here. Big balls of bacon. Pigs will eat people. I've seen that in movies. He sits there sipping his wine, but the way he does it, it's just as if to remind you. This should be. There you go. There's a bumper sticker right there. Hold on. Why can't I get the bar off the bottom? Get the. Maybe it goes. Look at this. Oh, and he's smiling, no less. He's smiling while he does it.
Hi, Prime Minister. Hi, Prime Minister. Just a fast question. You know me. Yes. We spoke.
I don't talk to you. I don't talk to the likes of you. I only talk to people, to whom I can apologize for something. Just disgusting. 3 weeks during the protest, he didn't talk to the protesters. Hasn't talked to them since. He talks through his crown prosecutor, Moise Karimji. Pas de cœur means no heart. Smug SOB. Fascist, he is above it all. Klaus has just on a short leash. It's but what I actually have to do, I have to get to Alexa Lavoie, by the way. Let me see if I go to the Twitter, the voice. Oh, maybe I put it up. Hold on. Alexa is the reporter who asked Justin Trudeau the question about how many boosters we're going to need in Canada. Is it going to be like Israel? And he says, I don't talk to you. And then turns his head away like a. Alexa's also the same reporter who got shot in the leg by a tear gun canister by Justin Trudeau's RCMP at the protest in Ottawa. Fully credentialed, wearing her press pass, carrying a microphone. An RCMP discharges a tear gun canister into her leg, point blank. Trudeau doesn't talk to her. Now let me just see. She asked him another poignant question, and it deserves to be put on as much blast as I can blast in the good sense. It deserves recognition. Let me just see. I'm going to scroll down here and find it. Here we go. This is it. Okay, now I'm going to cut, paste, and incognito. Boom shakalaka, and let's do this here. I'm going to put on pause. She's got some gumption. Is that the word? So Alexa Lavoie, snubbed multiple times by Justin Trudeau, demonized, physically assaulted. I think it might be twice actually, but RCMP, discharging a tear gun canister into her leg, point blank range. She's there. And this is her question to Justin Trudeau.
Monsieur Trudeau, quel autre accord avez-vous signé avec le World Economic Forum?
Mr. Trudeau, what other agreement, treaty, or accord have you signed with the World Economic Forum?
Monsieur Trudeau,
quel
autre accord avez-vous signé avec le World Economic Forum?
What other agreement have you signed with the World Economic Forum other than?
Que le non-visitor traveler identity.
other than the known traveler identity?
Monsieur Trudeau, quel autre accord avez-vous signé avec le World Economic Forum, autre que le non-digital traveler identity?
What other agreement? Mr. Trudeau, what other agreement have you signed with the World Economic Forum other than the known traveler identity? I think I'm known traveler identity, WEF Trudeau. Let's just see what this is here. Digital ID for travelers. This is this the one? Reject. I got to make sure to get a proper. No, that's from a while back. So traveler identity, May 16. Okay, without knowing much about the source here, Trudeau WEF digital ID for travelers brings social credit to Canada. The digital ID. The Liberal Government of Canada and World Economic Forum are collaborating on a digital ID project to introduce a social credit system for Canadian travelers. According to the countersignal, people don't necessarily appreciate the countersignal. The World Economic Forum's known traveler identity program, so I had it right, okay, is based on a digital identity that allows governments to confirm proof of citizenship and other elements of identity. Okay, let's just see what this is and where does it go to? The countersignal. So it goes to the countersignal. That's Kean Bexty, I believe, is with countersignal. And if people are going to want to write it off because they don't, people want to write off Fox News. Oh, that's Kean Bexty right there. Okay, great. Here, let's put this in here. So are we seeing that? No, we're not seeing the same thing here. Sorry, this is what I'm looking at. The countersignal. Put this in here. The known travel identity. So everyone in the chat, you can go read that, and I'll make sure to send out the links afterwards. The Government of Canada, Air Canada, and 2 major Canadian airports have partnered with the World Economic Forum on a digital ID project that could see a social credit-like system be required for traveling. The Canadian government is listed as a partner on the WEF's known traveler digital identity website. Let's just go see what that is. Known traveler digital identity, unlocking the potential. This is amazing, people. Unlocking the potential of digital identity for secure and seamless travel. Well, people might appreciate the World Economic Forum, Canada, the government of the Netherlands, and the Montreal International Airport. This is from KTDI, the known traveler digital identity. So she asked him that question, and as one would imagine, didn't get much of a response. Digital passport, health passport, banking passport. Help me understand. Trudeau was a sanctimonious, tyrannical snake before the last election. Why did the people not see that? He got reelected with a minority government of the utmost minority governments. I mean, the math is that he got like 20 some odd % of the vote of Canada, but between he was reelected with a minority government, NDP picked up some seats, Conservatives picked up some votes, and that's it. It's a minority government and a very weak minority government. How did he get reelected? I can tell you, because I ran for office in that election. Sorry, this chair is very uncomfortable. I ran for office during that election. People don't know, and I'm not saying people are dumb, and I'm not judging the people. Part of me is judging the people, but not as mean or malicious. Busy and don't care. When I was out there running for the PPC, People's Party of Canada, in Westmount NDG, that my riding has gone Liberal for 30 years, maybe with the exception of one election where it went to the NDP under Jack Layton back in 2010, maybe. I ran for office. I went door to door. I hung up signs. I was hanging up my signs. The PPC is the purple party, and not PPC from the acronym, but our signs are purple. Conservatives were blue. Liberals were red. NDP is orange. Like, every party has their colors. Everybody knows that. I saw people, as I was hanging up my signs, who were so politically ignorant. They said, "Oh, you're running with the Liberals?" It's like, no, it's a purple sign. It says People's Party of Canada on it. Hey, let's talk. And it's like, and they said, no, I'm voting liberal anyhow. People who don't even know the color of the party based on the banners, red liberal, blue conservative, orange NDP, purple PPC, still vote liberal because people think that they are liberal because they vote liberal. It's great branding. I mean, call it the Peace and Love Party. And if you vote for them, you're voting for the Peace and Love Party. It doesn't matter that they are, nothing about peace or love. It doesn't matter that they're actually out there, savagely beating people. They're called the Peace and Love Party. So whatever they do has to be peace and love. People think that they are liberal because they vote liberal, and they don't actually appreciate, other than the fact that the party is totally corrupt, 2 times ethics breaching, 3 times accusation of ethics breaching, scandal after scandal after scandal. Setting aside the corruption and the lack of ethics of the Liberal Party, they are illiberal fascists. Lock you down, mask you up, tell you what to do with your body, unless it's something that, they want to use to score some political points. Demonize anybody who disagrees with them, censor free speech on the interwebs. The Liberal Party is the party of tyrannical fascists, period. But they got the name liberal so people feel morally empowered and righteous and self-satisfied because they voted. It's much better than voting conservative. Ooh, conservative is, you're conservative? You want to conserve things? You want to stay old and stay with the old rules? I'm liberal. I'm a liberal person because I vote for a corrupt fascist of a dictator who wants to limit free speech, censor discourse, tell people what to do with their bodies, lock people in their homes, shut down businesses. Yeah, that's liberal. That's liberal. Like the People's Republic of the Democracy of China. I can't think of a good example. Yeah, so Alexa Lavoie asked the good question. What other agreements have you signed other than the known traveler digital identity? No answer, because Justin Trudeau does not have to answer to the people. The people have to answer to Justin Trudeau. What have we got here? This is part of full spectrum dominance. Look up what this means, and you'll see it happening all around you. I'm going to look it up. But if it's anything like Fu Tai, man, I don't need that type of full spectrum dominance. Chat, in Canada, it's referred to as back bacon. So take your hoses. By the way, Alexia just ordered me. Okay. Winning reality, back bacon. Yeah. Oh yeah. Here, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. That's what I was going at, not China. Thank you very much, Dead Snake. Yeah, no, but they're liberal. I'm liberal. I voted liberal. Oh, you mean liberals are about forcing children to wear masks in school and shutting down your business and not allowing you to freely broadcast on the internet and putting you in jail if you carry a flag that says F Trudeau and freezing your bank accounts while immunizing the banks from doing it? Oh, yeah, that's liberal? Good for you. Oh, look at that fish. Yes, Surrey Bob. We are going to the Keys this summer. Okay, what do we got here? Brandon Lesko says, Viva, are you going to start bagging on our horrible politicians now that you have landed in the land of the woke liberal insanity? No more than usual. Back in the day, I was faulted as a content creator in Montreal for covering too much of American stuff. I covered, Rittenhouse, the impeachments, Michael Flynn. I was more interested, not more interested. It was sort of like not the forbidden fruit, but something with which I was less familiar. And let's be honest, up until recent events in Canada, politics in the US is just more interesting. I was criticized for not covering enough Canadian content. Because I covered a lot of I covered more American stuff than Canadian stuff. And at one point in time, my audience was like 65% American. It's still pretty 65% American. But I've been covering this. I'm getting a little more vocal, I guess. Like as in when professors start asking congressmen if do you believe men can have babies, and if you have the audacity to say no, you're then branded as denying that trans people exist. This is the $1 million question, Vicky. How do we get rid of the governance of these tyrants if they control everything? Every avalanche starts with a snowflake, and not the snowflake as in the Lucas Gerhardt snowflake, not the political snowflake. Every avalanche starts with a snowflake. When you walk through the forest and you look at one individual leaf flapping in the wind, it's silent. And yet when the wind blows, it makes a roar with all of the leaves. The avalanche has to start with one snowflake. And then once it starts, it's going to pick up its own momentum. This has to be a massive pushback at the populist level. But how do you get there? You got to make sure, you got to make people realize that no, none of this is okay. It's not okay to cancel someone for saying, I do not believe men can get pregnant. It's not okay to cancel someone for saying, I do not believe that I should be compelled to undergo medical intervention because you think it makes me selfish if I say I don't want to. It's not okay. It's not okay for the government to say, I get to tell you when you can leave your house. It's not okay. And how do you get there? One person at a time, two people at a time, and then all at once. Yesterday, I had on Chanel Fall, a teacher who is being investigated in Ontario for having posted on a private Facebook group, but that had apparently all the teachers of Ontario, criticism of critical race theory. Within 15 minutes, she had to leave the group, and she got sanctioned at school where she was on 1 week unpaid leave. And now she's being investigated by the commission, or the higher level of the body that governs teachers. She was on yesterday. We spoke again after the live stream. She's like, people are now reaching out to me. Other teachers are now coming out and talking about this. Yeah, it was good yesterday. If I do say so myself. And Natalie, your husband looks a lot like Keanu Reeves in that photograph. It happens one at a time, two at a time, and then all at once. And I think it's starting to happen now. The only issue with the dynamic of the power play is that the vocal minority, which takes the vocal minority on social media, carries a lot more influence than the silent majority in real life. You know, like when brands drop their clients or the people that sponsor them due to social pressure, they think, like when they're being harassed and bombarded on Twitter with cancel this, they think it represents a lot of people. It happens to be a very vocal minority. And when people realize that, things will change, and things will change. And Trudeau will fall. He is too toxic even for Canadian politics, and he is too toxic for the Liberal Party. The only problem, thanks to Jagmeet Singh, he's being propped up at least indefinitely and at most until 2025. Thanks to Jagmeet. Okay, so what do we got here? That was the question from Alexa. She's amazing. Rebel News is amazing. Kian Bexty is amazing. The independent media doing what the government subsidized media is not doing are amazing. This is the risk, Fezador. Canada will fall into a state of irreparable brokenness before Justin at this rate. Yeah, there's some questions that people should be asking about Gates in China buying up many, many acres of land in the United States. It is confirmed and it is curious. Okay, Okay. What was the other one that we had on? Oh, just to show. Okay, let's pull up. It's just fun. The difference between headline news and then if you actually go read it. Breaking 9/11, they seem politically balanced in that they just have clickbait headline for anything. It's not consistently anti-Trump or anti-GOP. It's just it's clickbait against whichever politician of the day. But you see this headline: Trump to rally goers, take those shirts off and give them to me right now. I mean, this, when I read that, was almost as bad as grab him by the until you understood the context of that and until you actually understand what happened here. I'm going to get the video. Take off those shirts and give them to me. It sounds like when Homer Simpson did the rock bottom interview on the Simpsons, like, so you admit you grabbed her can. It sounds like that level of awfulness. But let's just go. Whoa, we got Stephen Bannon here. Let's just see.
I love this guy's shirt. I tell you.
Let's just see.
I'd love to have you get up here. Come on, get up here. Let me
I
see.
lost
Get
my-
up here.
There it
Get
is.
this guy up here. Come here. I
Get
love
those
this
shirts
guy.
off.
Any guy wears a shirt like that, how can you not love him? Look at that beautiful. Yeah. Would you help him up? Taylor, help him up.
Okay,
Come on,
let's
you're a
just
strong
skip
guy.
ahead
Come
here.
I just want to show.
Here, get to
I
this.
like that one.
Get her up here too. Okay, so he calls him up on stage. Get those shirts off. By the way, if we can just remark, just look at the long sleeve shirt underneath the t-shirt at issue here. Just notice the long sleeve shirt under this, because I have this. Let me see here. Oh, I believe she also has a long sleeve shirt. Yes, she does. You know why they have long sleeve shirts on? Because they were probably prepared to give those shirts to someone who asked. They're wearing long sleeve shirts under the shirt in question. The headline from Breaking 9/11, get those shirts off and give them to me.
Thank you. I want that
Oh no, did I just, I'm bringing up calendar? I don't want to bring that up.
shirt. I want both of them. Take those shirts off and give them to me right now.
I mean, that is, it's literally, get those shirts off and give them to me right now. Splice in women crying. Get those shirts. It's literally like that scene from The Simpsons when Rock Bottom re-edited the Homer Simpson interview. I just wanted to grab her sweet can. There's no limit to it. There's no limit to how much insidious fake news there is out there that as a viewer, you have to, you have to think twice before retweeting. Oh my goodness, look what Trump said he told women to take their shirts off at a rally. I guarantee you there are people on certain spectrum of the political aisle that believe now that Groper McGropestein Trump told women to take their tops off at a rally. Guaranteed. Bannon Hunter celebrity boxing match. I'd put my money on Bannon. But yeah, hold on now. I saw something out here. Keep it coming down. Vocal minority or bots? No, I think they're people. I don't think they're but bots. It depends on what your definition of bots are. That depends on what your definition of bots is. Did I miss a super chat from? Yeah, hold on 1 second. Here, there it is. No, the chat. Okay, it's at the bottom here. Oh, come on. Here. If he had been at a Drags Kids story time, he'd be a national hero. Oh, that's, yeah. No, it's all right. Well, what else did we have on the menu for the law stuffs? So tomorrow might not get a stream out because we'll be in transit to the Freedom Fest. What a name. Freiheit Fest. It is the festival unserer Freiheit to the Freedom Fest. So I might not get a stream out, but we'll see what the day holds. There might be some exclusive content for vivabarneslaw.locals.com because I'm meeting up with Barnes tomorrow night. Thursday will be live at 3:10 with Project Veritas James O'Keefe panel, and then back here. But what else? I'm going to go to share to this just so I can get back to the. Oh no, you know what? Twitter has figured out a way to not allow me to scroll down indefinitely on my Twitter feed. But I think we've covered everything. Well, here, just a funny one. I don't know who the person is. There's MSN.com. Kamala Harris would beat Ron DeSantis in 2024 election poll. I doubt it. I mean, how stupid does anyone have to be to believe? This is like MSM wishing fiction into reality. But my humorous joke is with or without fortification. Yeah, then we get to the rest of this. Now watch what happens. They've gotten wise at Twitter because I've been scrolling down. Oh, looks like I can. That's the Freedom Fest right there, people. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Throw. Okay, no, that's it. That's all we got for the day, people. Within 30 minutes, within 25 minutes, I'm going to be on Alison Morrow's channel. So stick around. Check out that. I'll post the link. I do think I hear children. I hear children. Marty, they found us. I don't know how, but they found us. Let me see what I got on Rumbles, if I missed anything. Did I miss anything on the Rumbles? People, hold on just one second. It appears as though I have not. Okay, good. And with or without? What's with the... Perhaps you are new to the channel, Lizjane Williams. I have been adding an unnecessary H for quite some time now. I forget when it started. But it's become a thing now. Okay. Go, people. Enjoy the day. Alison Morrow on her channel at 4:30. It's going to be fun. And then RT tonight talking about Canada breaking its own sanctions against Russia, Trudeau being a weak leader, even in the eyes of Zelensky, and me just wishing that Trudeau were only weak and not a corrupt, fascist pig of a tyrant who is single-handedly doing more to destroy our country than anything in the history of our country. People, it was Whitmer. You're right. It was Whitmer. What is wrong with my memory? How could we have ever forgotten the Whitmer entrapment? They called me crazy, people. They called us crazy when we suggested that there might be a little bit more to the alleged Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. Who's laughing now, people? Okay, go. Enjoy the day. Thank you all for being here. I will see you sooner than later.